What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from Troon Brewing, and they're out of Hopewell, New Jersey, and this is their Inferior Pathways. So this is what they're calling a Hoppy Ale that comes in at 8.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This Crowler is just over 2 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks, a shout out to a friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Aaron, otherwise known as Beer Glass Bro on Instagram, for this Crowler. So absolutely huge thanks to him for this Crowler. Aaron has been following the channel for a while. Him and I have been friends on Untapped for a couple of years, and I've been following him on Instagram for like at least 6 months, might be closer to a year. And he reached out recently, was like, hey man, I know you haven't reviewed any Troon on your channel, and I would love to be the first to send you a Crowler to review. Would you be interested? Of course. I said yes. Now, if you're into the whole, haze game, especially when it comes to like hyped breweries, Troon is at the top of the list or near the top of the list. Their stuff is very hard to get, which we'll talk about at the end of the review. And the fact that he was kind enough to just out of nowhere be like, hey, I want to send you a Crowler is crazy, because these on the secondary market and whatnot go for crazy prices. And the fact that he was nice enough to send me one, like, I can't thank you enough, Aaron. Go check out his channel in the description box. I'll post it, or I said channel, but he basically on his Instagram, he collects a bunch of different glassware, like pop culture glassware, whether it's music or TV shows or movies, and he pairs some of his favorite beers with them. So I will leave a link in the description box to his Instagram. Go check it out. He's a great dude, case in point. So he did tell me a few things about Troon in general. Again, we'll talk about like price point availability at the end, but he did say they call pretty much everything a Hoppy Ale that's a hop forward beer. So they don't say like Pale Ale, single IPA, double IPA, triple IPA. It's just a Hoppy Ale. They don't tell you the hops. A lot of people like guessing or whatever. I don't know if I'll do that in this review. We'll see what I'm picking up on. And yeah, he was like, hey man, another thing, he was like, keep this upside down with Crowlers a lot of times, because it's so hazy and all the hop particulates and sediment and everything. And I had to let him know that. I've been doing that for like 3 or 4 years, ever since I got Hop Butcher. Most of my hop forward hazy beers are kept upside down until before the review. I flip them right side up. Shout out to whatever piece of crap car that is going by. And yeah, so we should be good to go. Now, the one thing I will say that I won't be good to go in terms of this review is pouring from a Crowler. I have never been able to pour from a Crowler. You guys know I can't pour regular beer, but pouring anything from a Crowler is, I find, very difficult to not spill some of it. So yeah, anyway, we're going to crack this one open. I don't really have great nails here, so we'll see if I'm able to open this up. So like I said, this one was upside down. Last 20 minutes, it was right side up. We hope that all the hop goodies actually made it. So what I'm going to try to do is pour this into the glass. I have my paper towels because there's a very good chance that a lot of this hits the table. Here we go. Have I developed an ability to pour from a Crowler to some degree? Maybe. See how it spills down the side though and down the glass? See, it does spill a little bit. Now, I used to actually just spill like maybe an ounce or two on the table. So the fact that that didn't happen here, I'm very happy. It did go down the Crowler a little bit, not a big deal. The Troon can art is pretty fantastic. I think they just have like a singular logo or whatever, and then they just put, we'll show you at the end or try to, but on the side of the can they do have the little sticker on there indicating what this beer exactly is. So that looks, when I just cracked that and poured it, it smells amazing. It's like honeydew cantaloupe. It's just melon vibes. So let's see how this looks if I pour. Yeah, so that has that milky goodness that so many people like to see nowadays when it comes to these types of beers. Is that? I was going to say, I thought I had dirty glassware. So yeah, that has that beautiful, like milky yellow color. Shout out to Joe over at Joe's Arcade, who's like, say someone took orange juice and poured milk into it. Kind of has that kind of vibe to it for sure. The head itself is this beautiful bright white head. As you can see, glass lacing already starting to form, about a finger, maybe a finger and a half of just, again, a bright white, super creamy looking head. Murky, turbid. I'm going to bust out this. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to see really through anything. Look, it's on the other side. It doesn't matter. That just looks awesome in the glass, so without question. Anyway, let's get a nose. Now, I don't have great glassware like Aaron, so I just went with my Bellwoods glass that I love and I don't get to use enough because I don't review enough Bellwoods beers. Now, I don't know if they use lactose. I don't know what they're exactly doing, but I'm getting a little bit of like a vanilla kind of vibe. Something I would get occasionally from time to time in Hop Butcher beers, Treehouse beers, sometimes even other half, but it has like this vanilla kind of creamsicle tinge. But on top of that, like I am getting a big blast, to me anyway, of honeydew melon. Or you could say melon, you could say cantaloupe, honeydew. I wouldn't say watermelon. It has a rindy kind of like sweet honeydew vibe. It also has this big earthy kind of green character that's not like hop burn. It doesn't smell hop burn. It's not like astringent or anything, but just has that nice like vegetal kind of hop character. Super fresh smelling. Little bit of like a stone fruit. I'd say a peach, maybe like a mango. I want to say like a passion fruit, guava, lychee, kind of tropical fruit as well. It smells interesting. Shout out to a good friend of mine, viewer of the channel, Sierra Hotel. Him and we talk all the time pretty much. And when he was telling me about Troon, he said they do a great job with their malt base. I can see that. This has a uniqueness to it. Again, that vanilla kind of sweetness, almost like vanilla cookie, but not like, it doesn't smell overly sweet, just kind of like the characteristic you'd get in something like that. A touch of like an orange grapefruit, like a ruby red grapefruit. Dude, this smells absolutely awesome. And as I pulled it away, the thing that hit me, a big like herbaceousness. Yeah, a big herbaceousness. It's making my mouth water. So now listen, you guys come to the Beer Patrol for honest reviews. I even told Aaron, I was like, hey man, I'm gonna be 100% honest. He said, yes, be honest, because we're all different and whatnot. I am not taking the hype into consideration here, how hard it is to get the crowlers, the price point, everything. I'm reviewing on the merits of what's in that crowler, not what's in my glass. And this smells top tier. This smells very akin to any of the hyped other breweries that I've sung the praises of. It just has that robust quality nose that you expect from something that does have hype. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Aaron. Let's see what this one's all about. Yeah, that's really tasty. Oh, shouldn't have spoke too soon. Wow. And now you don't hear me say this often because a lot of times it doesn't happen, but the finish on this one is very long. Like it doesn't have that clean finish where it's just like, boom, hits the palate, 3 seconds, it's out. As I took that sip and I'm like, oh, it's nice. Other flavors started saturating the back of the palate on the finish. A lot of fruit character, that herbaceousness. All right, let's go back in. Body on this is superb, 8.2%. This is like lower side of full, a medium full. Has a viscosity to it. I would say it's like thick and chewy, but it's definitely bigger than 8.2%. If you told me this was 10% triple IPA, I'd be like, all right, yeah, body's kind of in that realm. Really nice. The mouthfeel has a good moderate, almost approaching moderate carbonation, still somehow smooth and a little bit softer than anticipated. There's a nice creaminess to this one. This has the body and mouthfeels of, again, they aforementioned like Hop Butcher or like the Tree Houses, the old school like hype breweries, and now very similar to like Fiden's. I find Fiden's mouthfeels are top tier nowadays, and this is like kind of in that realm. Beautiful thing, there's no hop burn here. Just over 2 weeks old, no hop burn. A lot of times with these hype breweries or just, any of the hazy beers nowadays, really from almost anybody, you drink them a couple weeks old. Like I like to wait on mine between that like 3 to 6 week mark because so many of them fresh just like are overwhelming because they're dry hopping it with so much, so many hops, so many pounds of hops and just going crazy with all the different, techniques nowadays and whatnot. That they just sometimes are a chore to drink if you drink them super fresh. They have that burning sensation for me, like in the back of the throat and in the chest, just over the top, like beyond anything that I want to drink. Especially when you drink them fresh, you're expecting certain things and they just don't, hit a lot of times, and this is hitting. Flavor though, pretty much what I said in the nose. I don't know. I don't know if I would guess the hops in this, but there has to be some kind of New Zealand hops in here. If you threw out the typical Nelson, Motueka, Rawaka, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't get as much honeydew melon from those hops specifically. Maybe Rawaka a little bit more than the rest. Nelson does the white grape, white wine, gooseberry. When it comes to Motueka, it's lemon lime. But I am starting to get a little bit of that like New Zealand kind of hoppiness. Anyway, forefront. The malt character is nice, and again, I'm getting more of like a vanilla kind of like slight bready characteristic. Again, it could be coming from the yeast, could be coming from the malts, whatever the case may be, but right in front that hits me. It's like, it's not quite creamsicle, but it's just a little bit of vanilla tinge, dives underneath the palate, kind of with me the rest of the way, but never stops in the way. It's always like present, but not like the predominant note. And then I get up front, orange grapefruit, more sweeter, ruby red grapefruit, juicy orange, middle of the palate. Why did I say middle of palate? I wanted to say two things. My brain just kind of shut down. Middle of the palate. I would say peach, mango, stone fruit-esque, maybe even a little bit of like nectarine, something like that. And then on the finish, it's honeydew melon to me, maybe a bit of cantaloupe. You could say white grape, more of a gooseberry thing going on. There's a little bit of like an underlying berry, maybe even mosaic in here. I realize I've named about a dozen hops, but I really wouldn't lock in anything here. If I was doing this as a blind whodunit, I would probably say, I would say probably Columbus, because Columbus for me gives me big honeydew melon vibes for me, just melon in general, but I don't think they're using Columbus. Not a lot of breweries do at this point. But if they do, they usually use like Columbus Cryo and whatnot. But I would say maybe Mosaic, there's a berry, and I do have, a lot of times I get dank berry from Mosaic, so I feel like I'm getting a little bit of dank berry. I wouldn't be surprised if Nelson, Rawaka, or Motueka. So I'd go maybe like Mosaic, Nelson, Rawaka, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the new age New Zealand hops are in here. Maybe Citrus and everything. But that dank herbaceousness on the back of the palate, that greenness that isn't like a hot burn green, more of like a green vegetal thing, really, again, the finish is super long. It's like dank berry, honeydew melon, again, a little bit of that like white grape, white wine. It has a dryness too. This is like semi to full on dry. Not a real big bitterness here, but it is almost firmly dry. This is not sweet to begin with. So, you know, a lot of folks, a lot of haze bros, so to speak, drink a lot of the, you know, double IPAs and the super milky looking beers like this because they're sweeter. I am somebody who likes dryness now quite a bit, and I also like bitterness. And this has a good balance between the dryness and the sweetness. So while it does have a nice pop of sweetness, it's not overwhelming. Very easy to drink. Like there's nothing rough about this sip. Like each time I take a sip, there's nothing rough about it. There's no astringency. There's nothing outside of the realm of anything other than it's just a pleasure to drink. That said, is it like one of the best hazies I've ever had? It is not. It's not even close. This is not like some of the top tier beers I've given a 5 out of 5, 4.8, 4.9. This is not in that realm. Again, it's a small sample size. It's my first ever Troon that I'm reviewing on the channel. I've had one other Troon. It was at BeerTuber Palooza back in like 2019. Matt over at Massive Beer Reviews, good friend of mine, fellow BeerTuber, hosted it. And someone brought, I think at that point they had growlers of Troon stuff, and they brought like, I think it was like an oatmeal cookie IPA or so. It was something out, you know, outside the box at that point. And it was good. Don't get me wrong. It was actually a nice beer, but it didn't blow me away. That's what's happening here. This beer is not blowing my socks off. But if this is the quality that Troon puts out on a regular basis for something like this, I see why people love them. If you were local to where they are located and you can go and get their crowlers here and there, like this is a nice quality beer. This is perfect for sharing with other people. It's 32 ounces, so you could share this with, you know, 2 or 3 other people. Everybody get a nice hefty pour and enjoy yourselves. And that's kind of what craft beer is about, right? Sharing with friends, having a good time. So I can't thank Aaron enough for sending me this beer. It is damn delicious. This is an excellent, very, very good beer, especially when it comes to an 8.2%, essentially double IPA or Hoppy Ale as they call it. It's just not, you know, setting a new standard for anything hazy related in my mind. 8.2%, a little bit of a warming in the chest, nothing on the palate, so I don't really detect it. We'll go one more sip and I'll lock in a rating. I will say that this is very well done though. Like again, there's nothing astringent about it, nothing, you know, really disappointing me. It's just like the flavors aren't absolutely blowing my mind. I know this might sound stupid to some of you, but one of the real big pros for this one is, and we're going to find out, but this is one of those 8.2% hazy hop forward beers that I can definitely drink 32 ounces of. I'm going to try to drink the rest of this. We'll see. I'm probably going to. But right now, there is nothing in my mind that is going to be a deterrent for me finishing that crowler. There just isn't. It's going to take me a couple hours at the very least, but there's nothing here I'm going, oh, I can't, there's going to be too much of this or too much of that. No, there's not really too much of anything. It's just a very well-balanced beer. So Troon Brewing's Inferior Pathways. Friends, I'm going to give this a, we'll go 4.5 out of 5. I think that's a very fair score for this one. It's absolutely delicious. I really do thoroughly dig it. The fact that Aaron was nice enough to send me one of these is just cool as all hell. I can't thank him enough. And this is the first official Troon review on the channel. Who knows when I'll ever get my hands on something like this. Now, this is where we get into the price point availability. So Aaron told me that usually the Crowlers are $15 to $16 for this. So if you divided that into 16 fluid ounce cans like most hazies, you're talking $7.50, $8 a can. Bit pricey, but not much more pricey than you would see from like some of the hype brews that show like a Trillium. A Trillium's double IPA show up here in the West New York area. People pay $7, $8 a can. That's what places charge. Is this better than something you would get from Trillium? For most of their stuff that are making distro, I'd say yes. So keep that in mind. However, secondary, when people go to Troon, usually have a 2 Crowler limit at the brewery when you do go there. People pay upwards of $60 for this Crowler. Yeah, I said that, $60. It's almost 4 times as much as they charge at the brewery. It's a real thing, the secondary market for beer, especially breweries like this. So would I pay $60 for this? No fucking way. And I'm just being honest, I would not. It's a lot of money. And I could buy a lot of awesome beer that I would enjoy just as much as this for that price. But if you want to dip your toes in secondary and try something out just to say you tried it, that's kind of the going rate. I'm not saying all of them are $60 a Crowler, but like they're very expensive on the secondary. And availability, I think Aaron told me that they pretty much are brewery only. I think you 2 Crowler limit when you do go there. The Brick Farm Tavern is like right next to the brewery or like right by the brewery, and they're the only place that has their beer on draft. Like they give them kegs of it. So those are the only 2 places you're picking up the beer or being able to try it from. And I think when they do release stuff, they just post on Instagram like, hey, we got so-and-so, and then it sells out. Like people line up in advance anticipating them dropping beers, but they never will be like, for the most part, I don't think they're just like, hey, we're going to drop this on 3 days from now, be prepared. I think he said they also do like online only releases where you have to like, I think it's I forget what app you got to use. That's the only time they do like pre-orders or like tell you that they're going to be selling it on the website. I don't know exactly. I just know what Aaron told me, and I'm probably misremembering. Shout out to Roger Clemens and Addy Pat, except for don't. That's about all I can remember about what he said because he told me a lot. But so I do apologize, Aaron, if I didn't get everything correct. But for the most part, you need to do some work to get Troon, unless you're lucky enough to have somebody like Aaron who's kind enough to just fire one off. So I can't thank Aaron enough for this. This is a great 8.2% Hoppy Ale. I enjoy it. It's a 4.5 out of 5. But again, it's not wowing me. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad it didn't, because I don't want to just go nuts over it just to tell you, yeah, this is an awesome double IPA essentially that's really good. It's just not. I mean, I've had this from other hype breweries, like Fidens, like a lot of Fidens right in the realm of what a Troon beer is in terms of quality. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of that I've reviewed. So yeah, really good. If you've had this specific beer before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. If you've had anything else from Troon, just let me know. They just do a fantastic job. And I'm going to go and try to finish off the rest of this over the course of the rest of the night as I'm reviewing this one. We'll see. Thanks again to Aaron for this beer. Once again, in the description box will be a link to his Instagram page. Check him out if you want. Like I said, awesome. He has fantastic glassware. And some of them make me super jealous that I don't have them myself. But yeah, he's a lot of fun to follow. And again, he's just a great guy on top of that. So I'm going to shut this one down. Thanks again, Aaron. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.